Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Craig at 1996 Entertainment, and it is now time for my next video here on the channel. This time, it's just going to be a little bit of a change of pace. I'm going back to showing off some of my current movie collections that I have from all of the movies I collected on VHS over the years. Primarily on VHS, though I have a couple of DVDs with me as well, so... This is going to be my first VHS collection in quite a long time. I'm going to be doing, this time, my MGM Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer home entertainment sets of VHSs. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the clamshells first. Now, I have a couple of MGM movies released on VHS under a different titles, though. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started right now. Our first VHS we have is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, a great musicals VHS release. This is one of those movies that I have seen. This is another one of those musicals that I pretty much grew up with. And I have seen this movie a couple of times, too. A dancing, singing spectacle about rustic romancing in the American West. It, of course, stars Jane Powell, Howard Keel, Jeff Richards, Russ Tamblyn, and Tommy Hall. Here is the tape itself. Vertical sticker label. Movies from 1984. Here's the bottom. The hologram. Okay. Now to put the tape back in. And place it on the side for now. Now on to our next VHS. Our next VHS we have is Network, an MGM CBS home video presentation, although this does not have the MGM CBS logo at the beginning. It has the regular 1982 MGM UA home video logo. Network is outrageously funny. It's also brilliantly, savagely funny. Network is outrageous. It's also brilliantly, savagely funny, says Vincent Canby of the New York Times. Rated R. There's the CBS video logo there. Although it does not have either of those things in the... Let me get the tape out. There's the tape itself. As I said, this does not have the MGM CBS. And now for the label. That looks like a Polaroid label. And now let's put the tape back in. And place it on the side. Now on to our next tape. We have Cary Grant, Eva Marie Saint, and James Mason in Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest. Like I said, it's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. And nothing on the top. Hitchcock at the top of his form, says Saturday Review. Now here is the tape itself. There's the hologram again. And now let's put the tape back in. Put off to the side. Now on to the next title. Our next title we have is A Christmas Story. The 1983 classic movie starring Peter Billingsley, Melinda Dillon, and Darren McGavin. This is a classic Christmas movie. They show this movie on TBS and TNT pretty much every December the 25th or December the 24th. I mean, they throw this movie around a lot around Christmas time. Here's a movie to treasure, to throw your arms around and hug. And there's the hologram again. Okay, on to the next tape. Now, our next film is one of my all-time favorites, Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz. A video O for kids VHS release. No, really shouldn't be called Video O for kids. Should be called Video O for families. Because G pretty much means everybody involved. And G means general audiences. Not just... G should not strictly mean just for kids. But because movie studios and the MPAA rating system being a joke in general, but I digress. Here's the tape itself. I want to apologize for the blurriness on the camera. I'm using my phone as... Yeah, I'm not doing any 60 frame per second videos right now. Anywho, on to our next tape then. Next VHS we have is MGM Family Home Entertainment's An All Dogs Christmas Carol. The third movie in the All Dogs Go to Heaven franchise from Don Bluth. Being Don Bluth's fourth film that he's made. The second he made with MGM, and I'll get to that one in a moment. All new, an animated musical feature film starring the famous All Dogs characters. This movie came out in 1998 and was released by MGM Home Entertainment, of course. Here's the tape itself. We have a sticker label this time. And the print date on here is October 29th, 1998. And let's put the tape back in. Put it to the side. Now on to the next tape. Our next tape we have is Prancer, starring Sam Elliott, Cloris Leachman, Abe Vigoda, and I guess starring her, too. 3 stars, a charming fantasy, a mirror of childhood innocence, says Leonard Maltin. An MGM UA Home Video Family Treasures release. Prancer is the perfect Christmas gift for the entire family. Also released by Nelson Entertainment, and it's an Orion Pictures release. This film was released by Orion Pictures, but it was released under the Family Treasures collection from MGM UA Home Video. And the print date here is October 4th, 1997. Now on to our next movie. Our next movie we have, and it looks like my dogs are going crazy again. My sister just came home. Anywho's, we have the next movie, Fluke, starring Matthew Modine, Nancy Travis, and Eric Stoltz. Released as part of the MGM UA Family Entertainment Collection. A good film to see with your kids, says Gene Siskel of Siskel and Ebert. Yeah, some of these films I have seen bits and pieces of. Most of these films I have seen in full, however. And it looks like the person that previously owned this was calling in fair. So here's the tape itself. And the print date is October 3rd, 1996. And that is the end of Fluke. Okay. Alright, now on to our next film that is an MGM title, but it isn't shown on this VHS. Doing some further research, I found out this was also released by MGM, but it's not shown here. Anywho, this is an HBO home video release. This is Zeus and Roxanne, starring Steve Guttenberg and Kathleen Quinlan. A friendship no one ever thought possible. An adventure no one will ever forget. A friendship no one ever thought possible. An adventure no one will ever forget. A charmer. Zeus and Roxanne will melt your hearts and parents will enjoy it, guaranteed. Says Jeffrey Lyons of WNBC TV. Produced by Reicher Entertainment, but released, I think, by MGM Home Entertainment. By MGM Pictures, I believe. Excuse me. Here's the tape itself. HBO home video. And the print date on here is April 30th, 1997. Put the tape back in. Now, our next film we have is an old MGM video release. MGM movie release. This is the original Jungle Book. Released by Video Treasures. Now, it's the Jungle Book. The Jungle Book pretty much is one of my favorite stories that I've read. And Rudyard Kipling's tales are translated into this classic coming-of-age movie. An Academy Award nominee, this film recreates the tales of a boy's adventures among thieves and growing up alongside wild animals in the primal Indian forest. Here's the tape. Sticker label. And the print date is December 20th, 1994. Alright, now on to our final clamshell of... Actually, no. On to the next clamshell. The final one was coming up in shortly. This is Napoleon. Now, despite the film being shown as released by Orion Home Video, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer would outright buy Orion Pictures in 1997, I believe. And these would end up getting released under the MGM Home Video title. A charming and delightful children's movie, says Daily News. Goldwyn Entertainment Company, so this must have been a Samuel Goldwyn title. Here's the tape. Oof, okay. And the print date is November 5th, 1998. Okay. Okay, now to get to the final clamshell of this collection. The final clamshell we have is Bugs Bunny Superstar, part of the MGM UA Home Video Cartoon Movie Stars collection. The full-length feature film. Via Smith Contemporary. This is the more recent one that I got. I think I got this one like a couple of weeks ago. Hilarious, a furious fandango of fictitious fantasy, says Washington Post. Of course, it's a not rated film and includes the cartoons What's Cookin' Doc, A Wild Hare, I Thought I Saw a Putty Cat, Rhapsody Rabbit, Corny Concerto, Walkie Talkie Hockey, The Old Gray Hare, My Favorite Duck, and Hair Raising Hair. This is one more hard one to get open. Anywho, here is the tape. 1985. This movie came out in 1995, I believe. And another hologram from MGM home video. Now on to the regular tapes themselves. First one we have is In the Heat of the Night, starring Sidney Poitier. This movie came out in 1980. Actually, this movie came out in 1967 by the Marish Corporation. I have seen this film before. It's a lot of fun. I think the film's not rated, and it is 110 minutes. Anywho, put that there. And that is The Heat of the Night. It's another good film. I recommend you all should check it out. Of course, the next movie we have is the 50th anniversary edition of The Wizard of Oz. I've actually had this version since I was a little kid. Of course, you can see the tape is all used up. Color and sepia tone, as it was originally shown, I believe. Rated G, hi-fi, and it's a limited edition. Classic film. Of course, the original 50th anniversary cover is destroyed, so it's not shown here anymore. Anywho, that is the 50th anniversary edition of The Wizard of Oz. Well, speaking of which, we got another Judy Garland movie. This is Meet Me in St. Louis, starring Judy Garland and Margaret O'Brien, along with Tom Drake, Majority Main, Mary Astor, and Lucy Bremer. A 50th anniversary edition, again. Judy Garland at her captivating best. Of course, there's the Turner logo under the MGM UA home video logo. Here's the tape itself. (1944) Turner Entertainment. And the print date, I'm not sure if anyone can see this. Okay, the print date on here, give me a moment. Print date on here is July 31st, 1996. All right. This film's another good one, and I recommend y'all check that out. All right, the next movie we have is The Pink Panther, starring David Niven, Peter Sellers, Robert Wagner, and Cappuccini, I think. I'm not sure if I got that name right. Anywho, this is another funny film. This is a classic for among a couple of reasons. Three and a half stars. A delightful caper comedy loaded with great slapstick, says Leonard Maltin of TV Movies and Video Guide. Released by United Artists, not rated, and it is 121 minutes. Come on. Here's the tape itself. And the print date on here is May 18th, 1996. Yeah, they really have these print dates so darkly printed. Anywho, here is our next film that we have. A Bridge Too Far, starring Dirk Bogarde, James Caan, Michael Caine, Sean Connery, Edward Fox, Elliot Gould, Gene Hackman, Anthony Hopkins, Hardy Kruger, Laurence Olivier, Ryan O'Neal, Robert Redford, Maximilian Schell, and Liv Ullmann. So, yeah, by the looks of the double tapes, this is a Screen Epics video release from MGM UA. A Bridge Too Far. This is one of those films that I have not seen yet, so I'll have to sit down and watch that. Of course, I got this one at Goodwill back a couple of years ago. Recreates the stunning... Yeah, I can't even read the print dates here. Okay, did you know $25 million was spent to produce A Bridge Too Far, making it, at the time, 1977, one of the most expensive films in history. $9 million alone was spent on actor salaries, ensuring the biggest names in Hollywood. Only 2 stars did not come to terms. Audrey Hepburn, who was asking too high of a price, and Steve McQueen, who was interested in a starring vehicle, not an ensemble project. Okay. Anywho, here are the tapes themselves. Released in 1977, as it said. Okay, the print date on here... The print date on this tape is October 30th, 1997. And the next print date on here is October 29th of that year. Anywho, I will have to sit down and watch this film sometime in the future. Anywho's, on to our next tape. Dragoon, starring Gene Kelly, Van Johnson, and Sid Charisse. An MGM Musicals video release. An enchanting fantasy of music, dance, and romance. Rated G, and it is 109 minutes. And of course, here is the Turner logo. And here is the tape itself. Came from Hummelstown. Okay. Dear, another darkly lit print date. The print date on this tape is February 27th, 1994. Okay. Anyways, this is Dragoon. Another film I'll have to sit down and watch in the future. And the next film we have is one of my many Elvis movies that I have. This is Frankie and Johnny, starring Elvis Presley. Of course, I am an avid Elvis Presley junkie. I enjoy some of his music. A vintage Elvis charmer. Elvis Presley and Donna Douglas of the Beverly Hillbillies. Gorgeous Ellie Mae. From the winning combination, the sassy comic hit, starring as a riverboat gambler and his lady love. Released by United Artists. This film was from 1966. And the film is 88 minutes. Here is the tape itself. The print date on here is July 1st, 1994. Okay. Another great movie from the Elvis Presley collection. And next we have is another regular copy of The Wizard of Oz. This is part of the regular VHS release from no specific title. The greatest fantasy film of all time. Here's the tape itself. The print date on here is October 20th, 1993. Anyways, The Wizard of Oz, great film. It's at the top 5 of my favorite films that I've ever seen in my life. On to our next film now. Speaking of, we have another Judy Garland film alongside Mickey Rooney in Babes in Arms. Once again, starring Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland. Pardon my camera that I'm using. I'm using the phone. Once again. A top-flight film musical entertainment. This is Variety. 94 minutes. Film came out in 1939. Practically the same year as The Wizard of Oz. Turner logo beside the MGM logo. Here's the tape itself. Oh, wait a minute. Give it a sec. Print date here is March 25th, 1997. Anyways, that's Babes in Arms. This one I haven't seen yet, so... Alright. On to our next film. An Alberto Grimaldi production, Fellini Satyricon. An MGM film. There is no end, no beginning. There's only the infinite passion of life, says Fellini. Excuse me. Oh, I forgot to show the back, didn't I? Whoops. Oops. Anywho, Rome, before Christ, after Fellini. A major work by one of the few true masters of the film form has yet had. Letterbox format. This film was released in 1988. 2 hours and 10 minutes. Rated R. Distributed by MGM Home Video. Thank you. Anyways, now we can take a look at the tape. The print date on here, if I can find it. Excuse me. It doesn't look like I'm detecting any print date on this thing, so... Yeah, this one I certainly have not seen, so I gotta sit down and watch it in the future. And on to our next movie. This is Gone with the Wind. A MGM UA Deluxe Edition release. Released by the... Hold on. Yeah, this big box. This is the only deluxe big box that I have. Anywho's. Wow, this sucker's big. Yeah, this sucker is big. You can tell how big it is. Here are the two tapes. Gone with the Wind Part 1, and there's Part 2. Of course, the flyer for it as well. Of course, I also have this recorded on a blank tape as well. That I got from my great aunt. The behind-the-scenes story of the greatest film of all time, says 1989's Peabody Award. No Civil War picture ever made a nickel, says MGM producer Irving Thalberg. But filmmaker David O. Selznick of the Selznick Studio soon proved him wrong, overcoming all obstacles to create the all-time movie masterpiece. The Making of a Legend, Gone with the Wind, is an epic behind the epic, a feature-length documentary packed with rare materials and footage never before seen on free TV. A classic about a classic. Available wherever a home video is sold. Let's take a look at the print dates for this film. Okay, the print date for this first part is July 22nd, 1997, and for part 2, excuse me, hold on. And the second part was printed on July 23rd of 1987. So give me a couple of moments to put everything back in its places. Oh. There we go. Okay. There we go. Put this flyer back where it is, and I'll just leave that right there. Excuse me. Our next film we have is Fiddler on the Roof, a Marish production company presentation of a Norman Jewison film. Another double video cassette from MGM UA, home video. A film I have seen. It's a dark and at times sad film. At least I think it's a dark and sad film. Winner of 3 Academy Awards, the most powerful movie musical ever made, says Pauline Kael. Of course, there is part 1. Actually, there's part 2. This is part 1 right here. Now let's take a look at the print dates for this double-length cassette. Our print dates we have is February 6, 1995, on both these tapes. Okay. So that was Fiddler on the Roof. Again, in my opinion, a dark and at times sad tale. On to the next VHS release. Showboat, a film from 1951, one of the first MGM UA musicals that I've seen, that I saw as a kid. I think it's a really good film. Of course, the print date on this film is March 23rd, 1995. I don't know if you can properly read that. It's so faded. But yes, that is March 23rd, 1995. You probably can't see it through this camera, but that's what it says. March 23rd, 1995. Okay. Now on to our next movie. Where Eagles Dare, a film from 1968. I have seen this movie before, almost a decade ago, so. And now, the print on here. My problem I have with the MGM UA home video releases of these print dates, they're printed so darkly you can't even make them out. Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing anything on here. So again, I have seen Where the Eagles Dare before, and I think it's very, very great film. You'll have to check it out. On to our next film. Our next film we have is an Elvis movie. Elvis and Kissing Cousins. Based off of the song Kissing Cousins by Elvis Presley. Elvis has a rock and romance rival. Himself. Also starring Arthur Connell, Glenda Farrell, Jack Albertson, Pam Austin, Cynthia Pepper, and Yvonne Craig. Turner Entertainment logo, 96 minutes. The film came out in 1964. Of course, you can see that I have taped the Kissing Cousins label because the label was falling off of the tape. Actually, no, the tape had long stopped sticking on, so that's why you're seeing it. The vertical sticker label on top of the vertical part. Anywho, the print date on this tape is February 1st, 1989, and there is a hologram on this tape. And finally, our final Elvis collection that I have for the MGM, at least in terms of MGM movies, anywho. Follow That Dream from the Elvis Commemorative Collection. Also, a rare behind-the-scenes photo. Relaxing inside his trailer between takes. Now, I've only seen bits and pieces of this film, so I'll have to sit down and watch it fully in the future. Oops. Here's the tape itself. Okay, the print date here is June 20th, 1997. Okay, on to the next tape. Here is another VHS release of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. This film came out in 1954, like I said before. And basically a later VHS release for the movie. Only the difference on here has a theatrical trailer at the beginning before the film starts. And the print date on here is May 3rd, 1999. May 3rd, 1999. And I apologize if the tape looks chipped, though. Okay, on to our next tape we have. This is Roadhouse, a United Artists presentation starring Patrick Swayze. This is, I believe, a good movie. I've seen it a good amount of times to have a good time with it. Busting heads and breaking hearts. Rated R, released by United Artists. Here's the tape itself. And let's take a look at the print date if I can find it. Okay, I think the MGM hologram is covering the print date, but I'll try my best to read it out. The print date is February 4th, 1994. Okay. Alright, on to our next film. By the way, check out Roadhouse. Also, here's another one of my favorite MGM films growing up. The Crocodile Hunter Collision Course, starring the late great Steve Irwin, the late great crocodile hunter himself, Steve Irwin. This is a film released in 2002. And of course, this came from Blockbuster. This came from the Blockbuster video store. What can you say about the Crocodile Hunter in this movie in general? It's the Crocodile Hunter. And you can't even find a print date on here, so you might as well put that away. And on to the next film. Our next film we have is Gorgo, an another MGM movie released by Video Treasures. Of course, the MGM is not shown at the beginning of the film. And the print date is May 12th, 1989. I have seen bits and pieces of this movie, so I'll have to sit down and watch it again in the future. Okay, our next film that we have is Species. This film came out in 1995. I also got this film recorded. I also have this former film off of TV to a DVD. It's nice to own multiple copies. At least I believe that. Stupid camera. Come on. There we go. Film was released in 1995. I've only seen this movie so many times. Sometimes I even watch these movies when I'm looking over my blank VHS tapes to know what I'm doing when I'm posting over to the VCR and Media Closet channel. Anywho, it doesn't look like I'm detecting any print dates on here. Oh, I see a print date, but you can't see it through the camera. That looks like to be May 31st, 1996. Anywho's, I have enjoyed the movie Species. I think it's a good movie. And our next film we have is Peter Fonda and Yuli's Gold, a contemporary classics film. Soundtrack available from original MGM soundtracks on Rykodisc. One of the year's best films, says Gene Siskel of Siskel and Ebert. Yes, this is a classic film. Very, very classic film. Released by Orion Home Video, but it shows the MGM UA Home Video logos. But it's released as an MGM Home Video release in the VHS itself. Rated R, and it's 113 minutes. Here's the tape itself. And the print date on here is January 30th, 1999. On to our next film, and this next film that we have is Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise in Rain Man. This is one of my favorite films from 1988. Wonderfully funny and touching, there's magic in it, says Peter Travels of People. Rated R, and it is 2 hours and 14 minutes. Looks like it's on the back of the tape this time. Hold on. Here's the tape itself, and the print date on here. The print date looks like to be May 8th, 1990. And there is another hologram of the MGM logo. The MGM UA text, excuse me. And our next movie we have is West Side Story, another classic film. Another classic musical film. Okay. Winner of 10 Academy Awards. Nothing short of cinema masterpiece, says the New York Times. Yes, this is a classic film. And pretty long for a good classic. Also starring Natalie Wood, Richard Brimmer, Russ Tamblyn, Rita Moreno, George Chakiris. Of course, I think Russ Tamblyn is the father of another Tamblyn actress, Amber Tamblyn. I think he is the father of Amber, but I digress. I mean, there's not a whole lot of Tamblyns I've seen in film or TV, so... Anywho, the print date on here is April 21st, 1993. Again, this is a 1961 film. I think it's a really great film. Put that right there. And now on to our next film. We have The Secret of NIMH. The very first Don Bluth movie ever created. A very classic animated film. Part of the Cartoon Movie Stars video releases, of course. From the director of All Dogs Go to Heaven, The Land Before Time, and American Tail. Again, what can you say about The Secret of NIMH? It is a classic film. One of my all-time favorites, to tell you the truth. This film came out in 1982. Perfectly delicious, a perfect treat for the entire family. Rated G, and it is an hour. It is 84 minutes. The Secret of NIMH. There's the tape itself. And the print date on here is October 4th, 1993. That is The Secret of NIMH. Classic animated film. They would end up blowing Disney out of the water for a couple of years until the release of The Little Mermaid. But I digress. Anyways, on to our next film. It is 4 Weddings and a Funeral, starring Hugh Grant and Andie MacDowell. A Mike Newell film. 3.5 stars. Delightful and sly, says Roger Ebert. A romantic comedy from 1993, I believe. Amusing and irresistible. Not to be missed, says the Los Angeles Times. "118 minutes, rated R, and it's from 1993. I have no idea what to make of that logo beside... Anywho, I actually have not seen this film yet, so I'll have to sit down and watch it for myself before I give my full thoughts on it. The print date on here is July 27th, 1999, so yeah. I'll have to sit down and watch it in the future. Anywho, the next film we have is Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Actually, I'm going to put these two together. I have both versions. I have both MGM UI released versions of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I love watching this around Christmas time. I usually watch it a couple of times a year, to tell you the truth. It is a classic Christmas special. It came out in 1966, and of course, MGM Television themselves, back in the day, released this special. It's Dr. Seuss, and That's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Anyways, on to the first tape. Actually, before I do that, now to take a look at the tapes. The print date on this tape is September 12, 1993. And now to take a look at this tape. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And the print date on here is November 4th, 1998. Anywho, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, it will always remain a classic staple for me. I watch it every year alongside the 2000 Jim Carrey Grinch. Those two versions of the Grinch hold a special place in my heart. As for the 2018 Grinch, it's 2018 Grinch. I don't know. Anywho's, our next film we have is Casablanca, starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in glorious black and white. This film came out in 1943, and it's a remastered collector's edition. What can you say about Casablanca? What can I say about Casablanca that hasn't already been said? Restored and digitally mastered, winner of 3 Oscars. Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. Actually, this film came out in 1942. Excuse me. Oops. And the print date we have here is August 23rd, 1995. Alright. Of course, this VHS release was released in 1994. But the tape was printed in 95. Okay, next film we have is The Last Time I Saw Paris, starring Elizabeth Taylor and Van Johnson. Again, one of those films I have not yet seen, so I can't really give my full thoughts on it. Another tape I got off of Goodwill, released by the Video Treasures Collection again. Of course, there's so much shit on here I can't even make out. And it doesn't look like there's to be any print date on this tape, so might as well put it away. I haven't seen The Last Time I Saw Paris, so I'll have to sit down and watch it again. Anyways, here is another film that I have watched, and it's another one of my favorite films. All Dogs Go to Heaven, another Don Bluth film, and this is the 4th film released in theaters that he's made. From the director of An American Tail, The Land Before Time, and The Secret of Nim. Of course, this is the original VHS release, with Dom DeLuise at both the beginning and the end, in terms of previews. An enchanting and delightful film, highly recommended for the whole family viewing. Colleen Hawtrey, says Colleen Hawtrey of the syndicated Parent Film Reviews. Features an all-star voice cast of Lonnie Anderson, Judith Barzee, God rest her soul, Dom DeLuise, Melba Moore, Charles Nelson Riley, Burt Reynolds, and Vic Tayback. over half of these celebrities, I believe, are pretty much deceased now. But I digress. I'm not going to go into that. Anywho's, here is the tape itself. Sticker label. And the print date on here is June 9th, 1990. So yes, this is the original VHS release. Here's our next film. The Bishop's Wife, starring Cary Grant, Loretta Young, and David Niven. Engaging, imaginative. It has warmth and charm, says Variety. A Samuel Goldwyn presentation, released under the MGM Vintage Classics collection. The Bishop's Wife projects faith, hope, and charity in capsules of entertainment that will be relished, says the Hollywood Reporter. Contains the original theatrical trailer. I got this one off of Goodwill as well. Released in 2000 by MGM Home Entertainment. Now, I haven't exactly seen The Bishop's Wife myself, so I'll have to sit down and watch it. Of course, you can see as the print date is read September 30th, 2000, so I'll have to sit down and watch this film fully to get my full thoughts on it. And finally, we have the final VHS of the MGM. On the Town, starring Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, Betty Garrett, and Ann Miller. An MGM Musicals video release. And new remastered edition. I also got this all out of Goodwill. Excuse me. Flits and Follies with Carefree Delights is the New York Times. Another good musical delight. Yeah, MC Chap wasn't kidding when he said in one of his live streams, I have a bomb VHS collection. Anywho's, the print date on here is May 19th, 1998. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes it for all of the VHSs. Now on to the 4 DVDs that I have from MGM. First one we have is The Alamo. The first of the 4 DVDs that I have, starring John Wayne, Richard Widmark, Lawrence Harvey, and Richard Boone. I have seen this film before, and I think it's a very fun time. A diamond-hard, rough-hewn masterpiece, says Chicago Daily News. The special features on here includes John Wayne's The Alamo, documentary, collectible booklet, and original theatrical trailer. The film came out in 1960. Now to open the disc. Of course, there's the booklet. And here is the disc. And that is The Alamo. And the next DVD we have is The Lover. MGM DVD. One of the film's best of the decade. One of the best films of the decade, says James Grant at Scene in the Movies. In Cinema Facts, this film is based on the autobiographical novel by French author Marguerite Duras, whose youthful real-life romance with a Chinese man in colonial Vietnam caused a scandal. The Lover is set in 1929, when Vietnam was still a French colony. The Lover is the first foreign film ever shot on location in Vietnam. though 2 more French productions quickly followed, starring Jane March and Tony Leung. Not rated. And here is the disc. And here is a triple feature Chuck Norris DVD box set. I actually got these films out of Wildwood when I was on vacation from winning my big points there. Anywho's, these are Chuck Norris films: Breaker Breaker, Hero on the Terror, and Lone McQuade. All starring Chuck Norris. And David Carradine on the third one. Of course, you can see the 20th Century Fox logo right there. As you can see, the home video label by the MGM Home Entertainment logo label by 2008 was already folded into 20th Century Fox. Of course, there's Lone McQuade's VHS, actual DVD artwork. And now, ladies and gentlemen, on to the final DVD that I have, as well as the final release in the collection I have. It's a triple feature Charles Bronson of the Death Wish sequels. I unfortunately do not have the original Death Wish in any form of media. All 3 of these sequel films released by Canon. And, of course, they're all rated R. They've both released up 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Excuse me. All compiled into one disc. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is in my entire media and home video releases in DVD and VHSs of my MGM Home Entertainment collection. This is my first collection video that I've done in about a couple of years. This all comes from collecting that I've done in multiple thrift stores, the Salvation Army, Goodwill, Community, etc. And I really hope you have enjoyed this little venture into my VHS collection. I do want to do another one of these, like I said, on MC Chap's streams. I have been overdue for another one of these video collections. I'm glad that I was finally able to do it. So, with that being said, until my next video for Craig's 1996 Entertainment, I hope you have enjoyed this VHS collection, and I hope to see you for another one of these video VHS collections, video game reviews, and another one to come up soon. Until then, I will see you all next time. So long, everybody.